Hey guys, welcome back to another vlog. This might be the last vlog of production for the short film. I'm planning to do some like post-production vlogs maybe about like process editing the whole thing. I don't know, but this might be the last production vlog, so that's super exciting. I have one more shoot that I need. This is the POV process of how veil seeds are made. Veil seeds are like a drug that take place in this world, and we're shown briefly in the short film about kind of the process of how to make that. And so I'm creating a kind of process for how someone would take these black leaves, cut them off, turn them into this goop and get them into vials and secure them. So as you know, I am balling on a budget for this entire film. So I went to Goodwill today and picked up a bunch of random stuff that I thought would make a cool process of creating these. I kind of have a system in my head that I want to see, and there's certain sound effects that I want to hear while this is being made. And so I have a loose idea of what the assembly line will kind of look like, but ultimately it depends as I get into this process what I'm able to accomplish with what I have. So first what I'm going to do is just take all this stuff and kind of lay it out and find that assembly line, or at least something close, and then that's when I go to design it, try to make it look like the items are not from a thrift store and not the actual item that I bought. And then after that I will spray paint, color, weather everything, and then I'll head over to the shoot location, lay everything out, light everything, get a backdrop going, and then we'll shoot. So yeah, I'm going to take you guys along for the journey. So I got a lot of interesting looking things. Some of this stuff is like kid toys and just different stuff that I found, some cool tubing. I don't know, a lot of random stuff. I'm just gonna lay this out in kind of like an assembly line, just kind of see what makes the most sense. All right, and if you're thinking, how in the world are we gonna turn these most random items and some kid toys into a drug production line? The answer is, I don't know. This is kind of cool. All right, so basically we need to figure out how we turn these black leaves into this serum. I'm gonna play around with all this stuff for a little bit. Okay, so I think we're getting somewhere with this kind of rough draft. I'm just trying to piece together something that might make sense. I think first you dump the veil seeds into this kind of wide drum chamber type thing. I think that I want it to be like some sort of heat that kind of melts these leaves, because I just feel like there's a lot of like temperature changes and different things in this world, being so cold. And so that just like makes sense in my head, I think. And so I think that these melt actually into the serum, and then it's filtered through this tube and then up to this machine. I think this machine is going to be some sort of like filtration system or like purity system, or even refining it, like a refiner type thing. This machine here, which I think is going to pop out these guys to get them in little vials, and then the vials are then put in this machine right here, maybe almost like scanned, or I want it to be something to where a certain flash of light either activates the serum or purifies it, but that's already a refiner, so that wouldn't make sense. Almost like it like checks it, maybe like it double checks their work to make sure that this is a good batch, because maybe sometimes there could be bad batches of it, and so you put it through this kind of checker to make sure that's good. And then I'm gonna have this thing light up like green or red depending on if it's a good batch or a bad batch, but I think we're on to something. The rough draft is piecing together. All right, so I've got the bigger pieces glued, so I'm gonna let those dry overnight. And then I also did find a glass tube from my wife's flower propagator thing. Sorry, Audrey. So yeah, I'm gonna let these dry overnight, and then once these are solid, I'm gonna begin designing them. So looking good so far. All right, welcome back. Everything seems to be glued on nicely and is secure. I'm now just gonna go on to like customizing each individual machine. So we're gonna start off with, I don't have a name for it yet, but the thing that melts the veil seeds down. My plan is to just kind of like glue on a lot of different parts and scrap items that I have, similar to what I did with the Yanto wing, but a little bit bigger and not so small type pieces. All right, so we got the warmer pretty detailed out. I think these little pieces are really gonna pop once we color it. This always looks just like trash before I paint it, and I was just gonna try to trust the process here, but we added some cool, just different stuff. These are gonna be painted, and then some glowing red lights in there to symbolize heat, and then this is our purifier. We did some different stuff here, and I think what's really gonna make this work is coloring, and I think I'm gonna keep what I've been doing with the Vantacrawlers and Vantaguards is like a black and yellow. And I like to do like yellow on things that are like you can interact with. So like I'm gonna make handles yellow, probably make this maybe all yellow, this black. These will be black with the flame. So I don't know, I think color is really gonna like bring this to life. All right, next in the assembly line is the vial maker that kind of pours it into those glass vials. So this one already looks kind of interesting. I don't think I'm gonna have to add too much, but again, I think coloring is really gonna make this one pop. All right, we're moving on to the fourth section to the assembly line. This one's kind of like a checker or maybe in like igniter, or I'm not quite sure yet. I have a theory of how I want this to be, but I'm gonna put it all together and see if that tests out. But we're on to this item to start kind of customizing it. All right, so I got them all at a pretty good spot. I think I might need a little bit more work on certain of the areas, but I'm gonna do just a base coat of black over everything to just see how we're looking. And then from there, I'm gonna move on to color and designing everything, so. All right, so I painted most of them. I'm gonna let them dry overnight and then probably do another coat and then add in some yellow accents or maybe add on some more pieces if it doesn't look right, so. Getting closer. All right, y'all, everything's pretty much dry. It's looking pretty good. I didn't realize that I bought dark walnut instead of black, but I kind of like don't hate it. So I might keep it, but my plan was to do like yellow accents, but I don't know how well that's gonna match like a dark walnut. So I'm gonna play around with it. Spray paint fit. All right, so I ran to Ace and I got this copper spray paint. I think I'm gonna do dark satin with copper kind of metallic accents. And so this one's gonna be for the big drum, like the tub for the heating up machine. And then I also got this little bottle of kind of like copper paint that I'm gonna like paint accents on. I don't know if I'm gonna incorporate colors. I think what's gonna be really key for this is like lighting. So like backlighting some of the machines. I also have a thing where if you press a button, like a green light pops up, stuff like that. And so I think that's gonna sell it, but we're gonna see how this looks. All right, so I found this thing at the thrift store a little bit ago, and I knew I wanted to use it for like a screen for something. Basically, I don't remember exactly what this was before, but it's something where you slide in a picture and it shows up on here. But the cool thing about this is when you shine light into this top part, it shows up on that screen behind it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I have that kid's toy where you press a button and that finger kind of moves forward. I don't remember if you saw that, but it's like a hand. Basically what I'm gonna do is when he hits that button, when he like checks the purity of the veil seeds or maybe even accounts for it, I need to figure out like an actual lore and stuff that makes sense with what I've built. But basically when he hits that button, it's gonna check green and then flick off every time he hits that. And that's the part where I have a very unique sound effect that I want to play that we hear in the tunnel as our main character Raya is walking into this veil seed farm. And I know that's making no sense to anybody, but once you watch the film, you'll understand what I'm talking about. All right, good morning. We are on the shoot day, just packing everything, getting everything ready, trying to bring all this stuff that I made over to the shoot location. My car is gonna be absolutely packed with stuff. But yeah, this is possibly the last shoot of the whole short. Crazy to even say for how long I've been doing this. But I've been really kind of like discouraged lately and like so unmotivated about this shoot. And I don't really know why. I just feel like I'm losing a lot of steam, and I've also been like super insecure about this whole thing. And I don't know, I see people shooting these projects with like huge cameras and all this gear and teams, and not to say that I'm not grateful for the people that have helped me. I just feel like my stuff has like looked cheap because it is cheap, and so it's like hurting me a lot to like, watch stuff back and just the amount of time and effort that I put into something for it to like not look crazy. And I feel like people's expectations thinking like, because I've been doing this for like 2 years and like world building and doing all the shot list shooting, doing all the costumes, doing all the prop, like I've done pretty much everything for this like 12 to 15 minute film. I don't want people to think like this is gonna be the most groundbreaking thing. Like it hasn't taken a long time because this is like visually stunning. It's taken a long time because I'm doing this with no resources basically by myself. So I don't know. I've just been feeling really discouraged lately about it, but I'm just like trying to push through that and be a little bit delusional about this whole thing and just like keep going forward, I guess. I don't want to look back and say that I didn't try. Like I would rather fail than not try. Anyway, not to get all sobby depressed on you, but I'm gonna pack all this stuff and I'm gonna head over and work on this last shoot. Should be fun. We made it. All right, so I got the backdrop and all the pieces kind of put together. Next, I'm gonna move into lighting. So for lighting, we want it to match the Veil Seed farm that we saw, or that we're going to see in the previous shoot that we did, where like the fight scene takes place and you see the Shavacaster battle against the Vantacrawler. And so this is all taking place in the same spot. So we want top down, an orange type tungsten light. I'm gonna add some different like practicals in this assembly line. So for example, like I showed earlier, how this one's gonna light up. And I wanna add like a beam that shoots down when it kind of scans it, but I think I'm gonna add that up top and add a snoot on it and just have it shoot down. All right, so I have everything pretty much set up. Let me give you the rundown on the plan here. So step one is we're gonna take these Veil Seeds and put them in this kind of hot pot right here, which is going to melt them down into our refinery right here. It kind of purifies the Veil Seeds. Once the liquid is purified, it's then put into this casing machine right here, and that will spit out one of these vials with the Veil Seeds in them. After that, it's then placed in this machine right here. Once he places it in there, it's gonna activate this kind of scanning sequence, and then it's going to give you like a green light, and then you take it out and add it to the pile. I have my friend Jake coming to help out, and the thing is we're going to have to do this all in one take because it's going to be POV rig over the shoulder, similar how I did the other POV stuff, only because this is a part of one big POV sequence. And so it's kind of the way to explain everything in the world without just like saying what's going on. That way we can like show it and start. Here, there, here. Can do one of these. Yeah. Oh wait, that's kind of funny. Cock like that. And then here, do one hand, go back to two, come back over here, go back for one hand. Put in. Put my hand here. Go one hand. Oh, that's gonna be tough. Put it on the machine. All right, guys, so we got that one shot that took way longer than I thought, but I gotta take that. I'm pretty happy with.
It took exactly long as I thought.
It took a long time, but we got the take. It was like maybe 3 hours. Was it 3 hours? We're moving on now to the pickup shots. So we need one of the Vantacrawler on the ground, which I will be playing, and we need one of the Snow Shepherd lighting up, which also shouldn't be too crazy. So yeah, we're moving on. If I'm falling here and we're shooting this way, that Calvin would be
here.
He would be in front of you.
He would,
He'd
right.
be over here.
I would be, so we're really filming this way.
Yeah.
Calvin would be here, so we'd be filming past Calvin.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you already are like way under it.
3, 2, 1. That was pretty good.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My neck is gonna be wrecked.
All right, so my neck is killing me, but we got that shot, and now we're moving on to the last shot of the film, and it is of the snow shepherd just turning on. And so the plan is to light from the top, but we need the light to be in that eye hole. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna shoot hard light down and try to like fill in that gap, and hopefully it'll like give off the effect that it's coming from the snow shepherd and not a light from on the ceiling. So let's get into it. For the snow shepherd, that light is just not narrow enough for this eyeglass. So the plan is to take this already narrow, I forget what this thing is called, but we're basically gonna tape over this hole and then create our own tiny hole, and hopefully it's narrow enough just to light up the inside of that eyeglass. So we'll see if it works.
Last shot of the film.
Let's go. Sorry guys, my phone died on that last take, which is unfortunate, but we did it. We officially made it into post-production, which is crazy to say out loud, and I'm just so proud of all the work that it's taken to get to this point. And I know I'm making this short film such a big deal, but I really am just having fun with it and challenging myself to make something like this. This is the first time I've done so many things, and so for the people that have watched my YouTube, which I know it's like not a lot, I know that my YouTube videos are not the most polished or high production value, but I hope they've been honest and real, and I hope they've inspired you to go out and do something regardless of the resources that you have at hand. I'm still trying to believe in that myself, and so yeah, I'm just so grateful for you guys following me along on this. You probably won't see me on here much in the following months just because I'll be editing a draft of the final cut. So the next thing you might see in here is a trailer of the short film, which is super exciting. Again, so grateful for you guys watching my stuff and following along on this short film, and I'm super excited for you guys to see it. Peace.